Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Yeah, my name is Sachin Kumarendran, which is not the easiest name for comedy. Many crowds understandably put off by the sheer foreignness of it. But it's okay, because I sound white. My accent is a mix of Middlesbrough and Birmingham. I think we can all agree what a match made in heaven that is. I was born in the UK, and I'm very invested in the heritage of this country as well. For instance, my grandmother, she worked as a code breaker during the Second World War. Although, looking at my grandparents' generation and their struggles when it comes to using technology, I can't help but feel that actually the Enigma code might not have been that difficult to crack. You just go into settings. So I was born in the UK. I grew up in Middlesbrough, so still very much the developing world. And that's sort of two punchlines for the price of one, because of course the idea of Middlesbrough developing, that's actually itself a joke. Has anyone here been to Middlesbrough? Yeah. A groan of resignation, someone saying no. Nice. The person who groaned, have you been to Middlesbrough?
Yeah.
How would you describe it, sir?
Dismal.
Dismal. Oh, thank you. That's considerably
But friendly.
dismal but friendly. To be honest, that's considerably more polite than what I normally get when you ask that question. Normally I ask that and someone just goes, "What? Shit all?" Because for those of you who haven't been, Middlesbrough's a sort of town that has more Wetherspoons than completed GCSEs. That's actually been a pretty good couple of years for me in comedy, because before the pandemic, from gigging, I was making about £100 a year. Gross. Net, I was making a substantial loss travelling to all the gigs. So arguably, over the whole of COVID, as a comedy business, I actually profited from the complete shutdown of the comedy business. It's not even just the travel. If a gig goes well, I end up buying drinks. If a gig goes badly, I end up buying drinks. If a gig goes all right, I end up buying cocaine. To give myself the same emotional roller coaster I'd have gotten had the gig gone well or badly. Come on, guys. That's the sort of lukewarm response that could get see me buying cocaine this evening. I do have a part-time job as well as comedy. It's where it varies comedy and a day job. Because here, my boss, the event organiser, will be like, "What was that about you doing cocaine? That's good work, we need more of that." Whereas if I'm at my day job, in my quarterly performance review, and I do a 2-minute bit about me doing cocaine, it's treated as gross misconduct. Which I always thought was quite a weird phrase, gross misconduct. Because if you're like me, you hear gross misconduct, and your instinct is to go, how gross? And it does make me wonder, where exactly do they draw the line? Like, if I won the lottery, I don't think I'd quit my job. I'd stick around and find out exactly what counts as gross misconduct. Lounging into the office late, wearing joggers with cross your fingers and hope it's toothpaste stains on them. Peeking out the front of the waistband, one cheeky ball. Peeking out the back of the waistband, one ballsy cheek. So as a comedian, I'm always looking to improve from the already lofty heights of a joke about me getting my ball out. Just the one ball. And I think one of the weaknesses of my act is it doesn't appeal enough to older people. You know, I made fun of old people in that Enigma code bit. You remember that? Apologies, so you're not really, that old. It's just, for the purposes of the joke, I have to pick on someone and be like, you old bastard. And it's quite a young crowd in tonight. I was sort of desperately looking around for grey hair and had to settle for no hair. So I thought, how can I do material that older people such as your good self, can better relate to. So I've decided to do a bit about debilitating medical problems. He perked up at that. Now this guy's getting a bit more observational. Because recently, at the ripe old age of 28, I've been put on a regime of stomach medication where I have to take 8 pills a day, or I might spontaneously vomit and shit myself. And a female friend asked me why I took 8 pills a day, and I told her, and she went, So I thought was pretty harsh. Oh, I'm sorry I don't have a sexier, crippling medical condition. Were you expecting here like, oh Sachin, why'd you take 8 pills a day? Well, it's a rare medical condition whereby my tongue vibrates with a sensitivity as yet unmatched by technology. Did actually get a girlfriend recently, and normally that gets at least something off a chin. Seemingly absolute stunned silence in the entire audience. Normally the audience will cheer. Thank you. Now, obviously, I asked my girlfriend if she owned a vibrator. Obviously. And she replied, of course. In fact, I've got a whole drawer full. She then asked me if I owned a fleshlight. Now, it's always interesting to ask a crowd this. Who here, in this quite intimate gig, knows what a fleshlight is?
Hey.
Mixed responses there. So one man cheered, but he noticeably quite at the back, sort of where he's safer. Whereas one man a couple of rows in front, and he started to put his hand up, and then looked round in alarm. The absence of other hands in his row, and then he realised he had to backpedal. His hand hastily went back down again. So for those of you pretending not to know, a fleshlight is a male sex toy that essentially consists of a fake rubber vagina inside a Pringles can. Now at this point the gig is often plunged into chaos. You've got men turning to their girlfriends going, nah, never heard of such a thing in all my life. Meanwhile, you've got one old guy who genuinely never has heard of them before, frantically Googling to see if he can get one on Amazon Prime. So, if you take nothing else away from tonight's gig, it's that these exist and are commercially available. A girlfriend asked me if I owned one of these. I replied, oh, of course. In fact, I've got a whole drawer full. I've taken out the shelves and everything so I can fit more fleshlights in. Obviously that isn't true. I can see people starting to look at me like, oh, it is just a joke. You know, I don't actually have a girlfriend. It's been weird dating over the past couple of years. There's been a lot of changes. Like, I started sleeping with a woman who's in the police. And back in the day, I'd have had a lot more to work with in terms of making that sexy in my mind. Like, whoa, she's in the police. Maybe she's got access to handcuffs. Whereas these days, it's a bit more like, whoa, she's in the police. I hope she doesn't murder me for not being white. Fleshlights seem like a blessed relief now, don't they? Compared to the mounting racial tension. All the awkward whiteys desperately looking round for the highest ranking ethnic minority to see whether they're laughing. There have been a lot of changes over the last couple of years. I decided to try my luck out on the town as well now that the pubs and clubs are back open. But I got accosted by one of these no spray, no lay guys. Do we know them? You know them well. Bunch of legends. It's the guys that hang out in the gents' loos of pubs and clubs, selling the aftershave with the dreadful rhyming couplets. And if you don't get sprayed, you don't get laid. They're very strict about that. And you pay for it by contributing this weird little tray of coins. The no spray, no laid treasure. The no Armani, no Punani treasure. accosted by one of these guys. He came up to me, looking to add to his stash of no splash, no gash, cash. No spray, no lay, he said to me. Look, mate, I'm doing ketamine in the toilet. Off a Weatherspoons, because you can take the boy out of Middlesbrough. At this point, I think it's fair to assume that no lay is a foregone conclusion. Now, for those of you who don't know ketamine, it's a popular recreational drug, a horse tranquilizer. It's very dangerous. But that is just the level of dedication you get from me that you wouldn't get from a comedian with an agent. Now, that joke used to be based on true circumstances, but I'm pleased to say I did recently get signed by an agent. Slightly more cheers than a stunned silence that time, so thank you, I'll take that. It's not all smiles and sunshine though, because the agent has booked me in for a run of gigs in Middlesbrough. Presumably thinking that because I grew up around there, it'd be like the home crowd. Overlooking the fact that actually really quite a key part of my act is slagging off Middlesbrough. And making fun of the north of England just generally, to be honest. Do we have any northerners in? Well, quite a few of you. A strong contingent. Who's from far up north?
How far?
Whereabouts are you from, person who said how far in a strong northern accent?
Sheffield.
Sheffield, oh nice. Sheffield's quite... Oh, Sheffield's groans from elsewhere in the room. I was going to compliment it, but someone's taken issue with that. Person who groaned at Sheffield, whereabouts are you from? The Wirral? Oh, I've got to be honest, I don't know that much about the Wirral, but I feel like Sheffield ranks higher on Northern Monopoly. I've got two friends who are from Liverpool, and to take the piss out of each other, they took in turns saying that the other one was from the Wirral. So I sort of gleaned from that. So I don't think the Wirral sounds like a good, nice place. Sheffield's a bit more I don't know. There's probably good areas and bad areas to Sheffield, whereas the Wirral, I'm led to believe on quite strong authority, it's just bad areas.
It's north.
Sheffield's the south. So it's not the quality of Sheffield you have issue with, it's the northernness of it. Have you got anything to say to that Sheffield person?
Yes, we're friendly people. We're all very friendly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Very friendly.
I don't doubt it, but it was I think his criticism's a lot more geographically focused.
It's not that northern, is it? It's just up the road.
I think it is quite north Sheffield. It's quite a long way away. When I gigged there, and it took ages to get back.
You must have got lost.
I got a train back, so hopefully not. But I gigged there in March 2020. You know, remember the heady days of early COVID? That weird time where Italy was locked down, but things were still sufficiently relaxed here that my housemate was saying things like, yeah, of course the virus is spreading fast in Italy, where you'd French kiss your dad hello. So that's my main memory of Sheffield. Would you say you're a particularly proud northerner?
Very proud, yeah, thank you.
I'll see how this next bit goes then. Because one of the things that always amused me about the TV show Game of Thrones was the fact that even in this fictional, fantastical realm full of wizards and dragons, the North is still a freezing, underfunded shithole. Populated by superstitious thickos. And that is the point at which I sometimes lose some of the northerners in areas. It's the sort of thing you might get away with it, Sheffield, Manchester, York, where it's nicer. But in Middlesbrough, that bit hits too close to home. You go to Middlesbrough and you make fun of them for being thick. When they eventually realise what's going on, they are not happy. I realise, fleshlights, ketamine, Middlesbrough, these aren't the most sophisticated topics for a glamorous audience such as your good selves. So I thought I'd finish off by telling you something I think it's a little bit more you guys. Thought I'd tell you a little bit more about my crippling stomach problems.
Okay.
Oh, so one person's shouting out, okay, I like it. It's a level of enthusiasm my stomach problems don't normally get from audiences, thank you. This thing, they recently led to me having what I describe as an amusing medical mishap. Because of my issues, it had been recommended to me that I buy flushable wet wipes and use these instead of loo roll. And I tried it, I was like, it's pretty good, you know. Bit of a game changer. I was buying some more from Asda online shopping. I bought loads as well. I bought like 8 packs to get it up to the £40 minimum spend for delivery. And my housemate saw it. He's like, "What are you buying all them for?" I told him. And he's like, "Oh mate, pretty sure those wipes aren't meant for use on people." And I had a look at the Asda webpage for them, and there's quite clearly a picture of a sink. I went and got a pack I'd already bought, and sure enough, there is a picture of a bathtub with some shiny metal plumbing, and not a picture of a nice clean arsehole. And I had a look on the back, and the ingredients list is phenomenally toxic. All stuff that you're not meant to touch without gloves. There's a big label that says, "If product gets into eyes, seek urgent medical advice." Ooh. Well, I thought, things had been getting pretty sore down there. Now I come to actually think about it, quite a lot more so than when I first bought these wipes. And the arsehole, whilst not quite as sensitive as the eyeball, is still probably not a great place to be rubbing corrosive chemicals multiple times a day. So, at the ripe old age of 28, I've now had a rectal exam to make sure that the self-inflicted chemical burns on my anus weren't too extreme. And I quite like that line because I'm pretty sure no one said that exact sentence ever before. I like how this gentleman went out to go to the toilet and came back in just like midway through the wipe story. It's like, bloody hell, you've missed a lot, sir. Now, often when a comedian tells these kind of stories, you never know how much of it's true, how much of it is perhaps exaggerated for comedic effect. But in this case, I wish I could tell you that any of that was made up. It's all true. I still to this day can't wash using mint shower gel. And I occasionally still have to use my housemate's Sudocreme on mornings and evenings on my arsehole.
Oh my God.
And I've been double dipping without telling him. And on that image, ladies and gentlemen, that's pretty much my time, so I'm going to have to, I think, leave you with that as your defining memory of me. I do hope you've all eaten. If you could go, before I go, if you could follow me on social media, that'd be super helpful. Do it now, so I all know you've done it. No, it's just fine. If you can follow me on social media, that'd be helpful. But you've been an absolutely lovely audience. I've been Sachin Kumarendran. I'm on Instagram as Sachin Kumarendran. Yeah, you've been absolutely lovely. You've got a fantastic headliner ahead of you. Thank you so much for listening.